All right, here we go. So I feel bad. I always forget to start recording after I've like and spoken a bit, but here we are. So come into the groundedness of your body, and this mindfulness of presence resides within the body, not just the mind. And really, the gift of these special moments when we really resonate is when all of us is present and accounted for. So let's kind of move through the koshas in our awareness a little bit and start with the physical body and just recognize what's here. You know, this sense of grounding, this sense of whatever it is you're sensing. So just feel into the body. Maybe try relaxing your shoulders a bit, melting your skull, the base of your skull, your face. Feel the ease come over you and what that sensation feels like. Moving into the Manomaya Kosha. You know, we have all these, I'm not going to go into all of them right now, but these layers of our being, the physical body, and now the mental body. So this sense of what is in the thoughts, what is the replay that's consistently moving. Can you arrest the replay for a moment and perceive what is here? So let your mind reach through your senses. So you feel this layering of the body and mind together. Moving even deeper into the pranamaya kosha, this energy body, this pranic body, where our emotions can reside, where our breath resides. So as you breathe deeply and fully and take your time on the exhales, just sense into this beautiful connection of the mind, the body, and the breath, and the emotions. Settling even deeper into the core of ourselves, this um, a wisdom body or a sense that's beyond the mind, something, a deep knowing within you, a deep resonance of truth, of a sense of consciousness around this truth. Can you feel into the wisdom that is inherent within you? And again, as we layer into these layers of ourselves, feel that they are all intermeshed, that there's really no separation, that our physical body, our mind, our breath, our emotions, our deep knowing, all of these things reside in unity. And lastly, the bliss body, this Anamaya Kosha, where we come into, what I experienced this morning with the feeling of the sunrise, which all of us have experienced at different times in our day and different times of our life, where we feel the deep, deep connection of ourselves to everything around us. What if we wore the bliss body on the outside instead of feeling like it's nestled deep within? Of course, it's the deep center of our being, but could we imagine wearing a set of clothes of your bliss body out on your surface, having the courage to expand yourself in this way, to touch the world in this way? Bring our hands together Maybe your intention can reside around cultivating this type of mindfulness through your day. Maybe there's something very specific that you'd like to intend. And feel these layers of yourselves become one as you breathe. Rest your hands down and find your way onto your mat. You know, my cat is playing strongly with her toy, so don't mind the noise. So as you stretch out and lengthen your body on the ground, let's enjoy the physicality of our practice. Our yoga practice is such a beautiful way for us to practice the art of mindful living. So be here now. As you stretch your arms overhead, just sense what it is you're feeling. And let's try to infuse some gratitude into what we're experiencing. Reaching and reaching. Maybe the left side a little longer, maybe the right side a little longer. Appreciate your body. Let's have some gratitude for the workings of our mind, our breath, our body. And then bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. You can feel free to rock a little bit, sway a little bit, whatever feels good for you. And then hold on to your knees and let's circle. So get your hips and your pelvis to just totally relax, letting your hands do the work of moving your knees. Feel that sense of softness through the deep low belly and the pelvis. And let's circle the knees the other way. Again, feeling yourself surrender as best as you can. Try not to do the work with the hip flexors. Do the work with the hands. And then let's open up the knees away from the center. Bring the knees back in. Let's kind of find our way into some movement. Breathing well. And right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground. And let's now get some movement in our ankles instead of our hips. Okay, so we're just getting some range of motion, some wiggles, some rolls. And then go ahead and bend your left knee. Put your left foot on the floor. Hold behind your right knee and do some knee circles here. So, you know, your knee doesn't have a lot of play for circling in it, but let's just try to get the opening and closing and a little bit of rotation in your knee. All right, and then try to get a little bit of all of that happening in one time. So maybe some big hip rotations, flexing and stretching your knee, moving your ankle, wiggling your toes, just sensing all the joints in that leg. And then when you're ready, right knee comes in, left leg long on the ground. A good squeeze of the knee. Open up your feet again, feeling into the freedom of movement that your ankles and toes and bones in your feet have. There's a lot of joints in your feet, so let's try to loosen each of them. Remember to stay heavy in your shoulders and head. All right, and let's go ahead and find some movement in that knee. So we're holding behind the knee and giving a little bit of rotation here. So it's a little bit of an awkward movement. Our knee doesn't like to rotate very much, but of course you're flexing and extending, but just a little bit of rotation that's available in there. And then bend your right knee and just see what it feels like to let your whole left leg have some mobility. Maybe the hip circles a little bit, maybe your knee bends and straightens, maybe your foot's doing some movement, just getting any range of motion that feels good in there. And then stretch your limbs all the way. So a big star in your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe internally and externally rotate your legs and the hip joints here. Finding some breath. And then when your next exhale comes, knees into your chest, pick up your head and round your spine. Again, opening up big and wide, feeling that giant star on the ground. And then exhale, drawing your knees in close. Put your head down onto the ground, arms out to the side. Let's rock our hips. So windshield wipering our knees. Feet can be hip width apart or a little wider. Kind of moving that range of motion a little higher into our hips and back now. Moving well. Roll all the way over to our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. Okay, moving a little further up our body now and starting to feel that range of motion in our spine. So some cat-cow, some arching, and some rounding of the spine. And take your time, feel each vertebrae come into the movement that's available for you right now. Move slowly, move with breath so you can really sense into what is available in this moment. Can you feel the mind, the body, the breath, that deep knowing within you start to connect and relate? And feel free to move around any way you want. We can wag your tail or circle your hips or move your shoulders, your ribs, your head, your shoulder blades. Try to find all the little nooks and crannies of possible movement potential. Find a somewhat neutral spine and let's protract and retract the shoulder blades so you can push the floor away and take the shoulder blades apart and then bring the shoulder blades toward each other. Maybe bend your elbows a little bit. And find your way back towards child's pose, settling your hips back toward the heels and walking your hands forward. And let's have a little movement in this. Maybe inch one arm forward and then the other arm forward. So you kind of get a little bit of mobility in your shoulders when you do this. And then when you're ready, you can stop your wiggling whenever you're ready and just settle into child's pose. Breathing deeply. Let's walk our hands to one side or the other. See where you want to go first. Drop some weight down into your sit bones and feel that stretch and reach through your shoulders, through your ribs, through your side waist, even down to your tail and your sit bone. Coming back up, walk the hands to the other side, feeling that nice lateral bend of the spine, the lateral bending, the opening of the ribs, the dropping of the hip and head. Fill up your breath. Empty it all the way out. Coming back up, all fours again. Have a sense of movement, whatever feels good. Let's start to find some range of motion in our shoulders. Come up onto your shins. Inhale, arms lifting to the sky. Then exhale, lowering them back down, arms down at your sides. And again, reaching up, arms coming to the sky, finding your breath. Exhale and lowering yourself back down. Come on to all fours. Let's lift the right arm up in the air. And as you're ready, exhale and drop that shoulder through. Finding a twist now, opening up the back side of the shoulder. Let your head get heavy. Keep breathing. Now, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. The arm comes up high. Exhale and slide that arm underneath. And enjoy the twisting here. Head is relaxed, melt. Breathing deeply. And then inhale, reaching that arm all the way back up. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's
find our way to a full dog pose. Pedaling through our feet, dropping one heel down and dropping the other heel down, and get into some of that range of the back of the leg. Feel free to move your hips around. You can lift one and drop the other, bend a knee and lengthen the other. Just find that sense of mobility. And we're going to ripple through the spine to a plank. So round your spine, roll forward, coming into a plank, and then rolling your spine back again. Let's try that one more time. Rolling forward, and then rolling back. All right, let's walk our feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, fold well, relax your neck, shimmy your hips a little bit, shimmy your shoulders, what feels good. A halfway lift, get your spine to grow. Maybe you want to pedal your feet here again, maybe you want to be still. How's your breath? And then pay attention while we're still in this half lift to your feet. Spread your bones really well. Feel the groundedness of your big toe mounds, your pinky toe mounds, the heels. And then melt, let your knees bend, soften your skull. Grab on behind your head with your hands and just a gentle pull. And then release that. Halfway lift again. Maybe climb up onto your thighs, press your femur bones back with your hands, and then we'll slowly rise all the way up. You're down for a lot, so if you get dizzy, just take your time. Inhale, lifting your arms up to the sky, feeling that big, open-hearted space. And then let's cactus open the arms and feel that squeezing of the shoulders again. Exhale, round in, forearms come to touch. Inhale, lifting high, a big swan dive forward, melt your skull. Bobble your head around, let it release. Inhale for a halfway lift, grow and lengthen your spine, and exhale and melt again. Let's step the left foot back, right foot is in front. As you find yourself coming into a lunge, let's enjoy what's here, starting to open up some more muscles. So we're bending and straightening the front knee. Feel the breath move through you. Are you here? Are all the sensations that you're paying attention to bringing you into present moment awareness? Find yourself, root your feet, feel that length of the spine, reaching up, opening up through your heart, feel that extension, that openness, extend upward, the heart lifting toward the hands, feeling a big wide open space in the front body. All right, let's release your hands down onto the ground. Let's put our left hand either on the block or on the ground, your choice of where you're going to be. And we're going to move through some rotations of the shoulder here. So a big arc of twisting open and settling back down. Make sure you're breathing while you're doing this. Make sure that the movement is in your ribs, not just in your shoulder, both. And then when you're ready, we're going to pause in that twist. You can have your knee down, you can have your knee up, you can have your hand on the block or the ground, shoulders away from the ears. Find the midline, press your legs down. And then release your hand back down to the ground. Back foot comes forward. Come into Uttanasana. Feel that sense of symmetry, balance. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Let's step our other foot back. Now our left is in front, our right is in the back. And Once you get settled in your lunge, feel free to start some movement. Remember that breath body. Remember that deep wisdom body. Remember that bliss body. See if you can find these layers living alive in you. Round your legs. When you feel ready for it, rising up, bringing the arms up to the sky if that's available. Take any modifications you need. Drop weight into the feet. Feel the full lift of the front body as you lengthen and reach upward. And then let's release our hands down. Take your right hand onto the block or onto the ground, whatever feels good. Now our left arm is going to swing around. So remember, we're making this action be a torso twisting, not just a shoulder movement. Find both. Big circles, move with your breath. Feel the stability of your legs. And then the next time you get up there, come to a steady pose, shoulders away from the ears, hand lifting toward the sky. Find your midline with your legs, press your front foot down. Keep your neck neutral. Find your breathing. And then let's release the hands down onto the ground and bring that leg back to dog pose. Take your time transitioning. See what it feels like to find that symmetry again. Let your head drop down below your heart. Full breaths here. All right, let's come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Find your breath. Integrate into your core. All right, and then let's find the ground. Feel those shoulder blades move again, finding some rolls and some rotations. Inhale to a cobra pose. The chest opens, feel the heart expand. Exhale and lower back down. Take your arms to a sphinx here. Let's rock your hips for a moment. Just get some ease. And then feel your core kick in, your pelvic floor kick in. So you have that support as you lift your heart. Okay, we're gonna do kind of a half salamander. Bring your knee, your right knee up, and you can bring your elbow back a little bit, turning toward that knee. Finding your breath. And coming back, changing sides, bringing your left knee in. You can bring your left elbow back closer to the knee if you want to. Turning and looking at that foot. And then coming back. Come on up onto all fours and loosen your hips up a little bit. Find a little wag of your tail. And we're going to take our knees wide, like to the edges of the mat, maybe wider. Okay. And come into a little version of a frog pose. So you do you as far as how far out your knees want to go. Adjust your feet. So if your knees, try to have your ankles in line with your knees. So it's a little different than having your feet together. I have my feet turned out, but you kind of match what feels good on your knees. And then just rock back and forth a little bit. You don't have to go so extreme. Try not to be extreme. This pose is extreme. So let's allow the body to kind of find its edges softly as you rock forward and back. And then come back up, bring your knees closer together, back onto your hands, and let's wag your tail. Pick up your feet and wag your feet. Toes curl under, sit back toward your heels, and then lift to dog pose when you feel ready. Let's have a little internal rotation of the legs here, just to counter what we just did. So turn your toes in, thigh bones way back. Feel that extension in the body. And then when you're ready, walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, feet hip width apart. Hands can be on blocks for a half lift if you want. Melt and relax. And let's come on up to stand. We're gonna take our feet hip width apart or wider. You're gonna choose how you want to be in a squat. Right now, come back so my head's not cut off in the screen. Okay, so we're gonna come down to a squat. You can choose to have your feet turned out or turned straight or legs wider. Kind of find what feels good for you. Elbows inside knees, palms together if you can reach. Draw down into the four corners of your feet. Breathing well, feel that good compression in the hips, draw your knees back. And then we're slowly gonna rise up and come to a 5-pointed star. If you're at all dizzy, take yourself to the midline, squeeze toward your midline. Okay, and then we're gonna do this slowly, but we're gonna keep moving. So instead of coming down and staying into a squat, we're gonna sense what it's like to drop down. Only go as far as your body says is comfy and good for your joints, and then back up. And you can choose to 5-point star and bring your arms up, or you can keep your hands at your heart the whole time. Now, many of us have a little bit of difference between knee joints, hip joints, ankle joints, SI joints. So feel into if you have a knee that does not like to bear weight or an ankle that doesn't like to bear weight. See what you can do to listen deeply to that side and let it be the leader. Try not to let it be the follower, which it wants to do more than likely. Okay, how's your breath? Moving slowly. And then this next one, we're gonna stay one more time again, coming down into a squat. And this time, arms back toward the wall behind you. Lift your triceps a little more than your spine. Knit your ribs in. Feel the crown and tail lengthen away from each other. Feel your hands spread out as your palms face the ground. And then stand all the way up, standing star. And then bring your feet closer together. When you stand in Tadasana, feet together or hip width apart, let's just enjoy all the juice that went into your legs. So let your thighs feel like they've been bathed in a nice oxygen bath. All right, and then we'll take our legs wide apart. Finding breath. Just stand here for a moment. You can have your arms down like I'm doing, or any other position that feels good. Just have a moment to feel your breath, your heartbeats. Feel this beautiful wide stance. So try to take the tops of your thigh bones back just a little bit, round into your feet. Okay, let's come into Virabhadrasana 2 on the right side. So turn your feet out or your foot out to the right. And maybe your stance is a little wider than what we were just doing. And let's find some flow here. Maybe the arms come up and then find your way. Maybe your hands come in, legs straightens, find your way. All right. And then settle yourself in Virabhadrasana 2. Drop the shoulders, gaze out over your fingers, find your breath. Notice if you're holding tension somewhere, like maybe your shoulders or neck, where you can let go a little bit more. Breathing deep, pounding into the legs, feel the feet. Go ahead and stand up. We're gonna come into triangle pose, tip your hip, stretch your arm down, maybe your hand comes onto a block. Shoulders away from the ears. And make sure you feel grounded with the back leg. So open up something here. Maybe your arm wants to stretch overhead a little bit. Maybe your hand wants to stay on your hip. So just find what's available, what feels good. Up. Let's turn our feet. We're going to the other side now. These same two poses, Virabhadrasana. First, so adjust your legs. Let's, before we start moving, let's just have some gratitude. Look what you're able to do. What a gift to be able to move our bodies in this way, to have the energy to move our bodies in this way, the strength. So let's go ahead and relish that as we reach our arms maybe up, maybe in. Bend your knee to find the posture. Come out of it, straighten your leg. Find the rhythm of your breath. Move nice and slow. When you are ready to find your posture, remember there's so many ways to modify. You can come out a little bit more, you can go down a little bit more. Your hands can be anywhere, on your hips, holding your heart straight up over your head, out to the sides. Soften your shoulders, melt your weight into your feet. Gaze over your hand if you can, if your hands are out there, and relax the base of your skull. Can you feel the poignancy of a strong stretch in the body, heart to hands, but have at the same moment a deep sense of surrender and ease? Same with your legs. Can you ground? Can you feel your strength, your support? And at the same time, can you melt into the openness of your hips? And straighten your leg when you're ready. Tip over, hand on block or hand on your leg. Find your way into triangle pose. Shoulders away from the ears, tail long away from your head. Feel the groundedness of both feet. Ready? Let's come back up. Turn your feet wide. Now we'll come into a wider squat. So arms coming up wide, five-pointed star. Exhale and find your way into horseman or goddess or whatever you want to call it. And feel free to flow and move. Feel free to be very still and steady. What does your body need right now? Do you need movement? That sense of movement with the breath, is that what helps you stay centered and mindful of present moment? Or do you need stillness to ground yourself into the feeling of connection you have with the earth? Always know there's so many different ways to go about bringing that art of mindfulness to you. So many parts of our practice guide us there. Whatever you're doing, straighten up your legs, turn your feet forward, and bring your hands down. They can be like dog pose out in front of you. They can be in between your legs or anywhere that's comfy for your body. Let your back relax, feel your head melt. Still engaging through your quads, so some activity in your legs. Hands come out so you can support yourself and heel toe your feet in a little bit until you're at a place where you can turn, then find the front of your mat and come to dog pose. All right, let's find your hips relaxing a little bit. So maybe take your right knee in toward your left and lift your left hip up and then switch and go the other side. Find your way forward, come to a plank. Steady Press your index finger mounds into the ground. And then find your knees if you need to, find the ground. Roll the shoulders again. What's your favorite back bend that you want to do right now? See what feels good in your body to open up the front of your body. Exhale and relax. Let's come up onto all fours. Have a moment to wiggle through your spine. And then we're going to come into deer pose. So been trying to do this a lot lately. It feels good on my hips. I hope it does on yours too. So kind of like a half virasana with your right leg, left foot in the inside edge of your right knee. And we're just going to twist a little bit to the side. And I want you to find a little bit of flow here. So maybe turn and open up to the right and swing your right arm up. Maybe there's hands down and you lean toward the ground. So try to experiment. There's no right or wrong way to feel into this twist. So do what feels good in your body. You can be very still, or you can do a lot of movement. Bring your left hand onto the ground next to you and take your right hand and just have a good press down on the top of, right at where your femur bone settles into the joint. Press that hip down. Out of there. Bring your feet out in front of you before we do the second side. Hands behind you, feet on the ground, wider than your hips, and just windshield wiper your knees a little bit here. And then let yourself rock toward the other side. So if your knee doesn't do this, if you don't flex your knee well, then you can do that. You can put blocks anywhere you want. You can put a block underneath your knee. You can have your leg further out to the side. So experiment with how you feel comfy. And it's a good internal rotation for this hip. So let's enjoy maybe a little bit of movement. And just see what feels good in your body. There's no right to wrongs here. Maybe you want to stay in the twist. Maybe you want to lower your body down toward the ground. When you're ready, come back and place that left hand right at the root of your left thigh. And you can experiment. Sometimes it feels good to massage, the head of your femur bone. Just see what feels good. Sometimes it may feel good to strike down your whole leg. Let's just see what feels nice in there. All right, and then come back, feet in front of you again. Gentle windshield wipering, nothing extreme. And stretch your legs out and just wiggle yourself a little bit. We're going to come into pigeon pose. So of course, if you need a different variation, like reverse pigeon pose or something else, by all means, you do you. And if you are coming into pigeon pose, maybe you need some support and you have a blanket to rest your femur bone on and your hip on. So just sense what it is that you need, maybe a block. And then, of course, if you want a block in front, you can. We're going to stay up for a moment. So I'm going to use my 2 blocks. You can use your hands on the ground and just find that lift and lengthen once you get into the pose. Feel an opening in the hip flexors and the front spine, and then find your way forward, and maybe your head comes to rest on a block. Okay? So if you're in reverse pigeon pose, rest your head down on the ground. Just allow this deep stretch to come, finding its way into you. And steadiness in the breath. And we move into the layers of our being again here. Is there some layer you can release in your hip without losing stability? Climbing back up. Let's switch sides. You can just swing your other leg around, or maybe you like to go to dog pose in between. So however you like to transition. As we move to the second side, let's enjoy it. And don't assume that the propping that you need on one side is the same as you'll need on the other. Everybody's a little different. So you can take your heel closer to your pubic bone or pull it further away. I have a blanket underneath both my front sit bone and my back thigh. So I have a blanket across the two, but maybe you have a different way that you support yourself. Whatever it is, make sure that you are not hanging in space. And then lift up, open through your heart. Try not to compress the back body. Hug your knees into your pelvis to support that lifting. And then find your way forward into sleeping pigeon. So when we come here, maybe your head can rest on a block. Maybe your forearms are resting on the ground. Maybe you have a different way of positioning support. So find what's here and then always check in and make sure that you're aligned, that your pelvis is square, that you feel good in your joint spaces, your hip, your knee, your ankle, your SI joint, even your back. Make sure, kind of scan these joints and make sure everything's okay. And if not, make an adjustment. Settle into your breath. Let the layers start to dissolve. If you find yourself resisting or holding yourself against the pose, how can you melt something? How can you support yourself and use your breath to help you relax? And our way out of this posture, maybe dog pose, maybe not, you do you, however you like to transition out of the pose. Breathing deeply. You can straighten your legs some way or another, even if it's not dog pose. All right, now we're going to relax down onto your sit bones again. So let's come, you can support yourself if you want with the edge of a blanket, if that feels good to you. And you might need a strap and your blocks for where we're going. Okay, so find your breath. We're going to start by straightening the right leg, cross the left leg over, and let's find a twist. So you can use your forearm around your knee. You can put your elbow on the outer knee, other hand behind you to support the lift of your spine. Breathing deeply. So just, there's 3 different ways you really could hold. You can hold your hand on your knee, you can wrap your forearm around your knee, or you can take your elbow to the outer knee. Try to find a way where you feel the depth of the twist without kind of pressing your bones too deeply. How's your breathing? Come back to center. This is where blocks might come in handy. We're gonna curl that right leg underneath, and you can stick blocks in all sorts of places, you know, if you need to find cow face legs. Okay, so stacking our knees as best as we can, feet coming out to the side, lift up. It doesn't take long for a strong sensation to arrive. So let's let ourselves melt and breathe. To unwind the legs, stretch them out, and maybe take them a little wider and just wobble your legs all the way from your femur bones. And then we'll come to the second side. So now your right leg is over your left. Again, you can hold with your hand, you can wrap your forearm, or you can take the elbow to the outer knee. The hand behind you supports the twist. Drop the shoulders, open up across your chest. Breathing well. Savor the sensations in your body. Come out of here and let's come into cow face legs on the other side. So knees stack as best as you can. They probably won't go stacking, but just, you know, best as you can. Feet out to the sides, lift up through your spine. Descend your legs, drop them, let them feel heavy and relaxed. Blocks can be handy in various places underneath your legs, but you can also use them to lengthen forward a little bit and place your hands on, or to bring them back and put your hands on. So many choices of how to feel your way into this pose. Let your breath take you there. Straighten out the legs again. Let's windshield wiper your knees or just wobble your whole leg, whatever feels good. You can pick up your knees, whatever feels good. And then the last strong pose we'll do is Paschimottanasana. So you can wrap a strap around your feet so that you have some support to lift up. Feel that axial extension of your spine. Ground your femur bones. Feel that you're made of the earth, that you can sink your legs into the earth. Feel the crown lift like you're made from the heavens. That we find both this rooting and rising. How's your breath? And if you'd like to come forward and deepen into the spinal stretch, you can tuck your chin and feel that long spine. Out of there, find your way onto your back. We're going to just melt here for a moment. Feel the weight of your pelvis. Knees are bent, feet on the ground. And then instead of doing a bridge pose, lift up your hips and just shake your hips. Let everything jiggle. Relax everything you can. Your feet can do the work. If you can feel the jiggle move into your ribs a little bit, your diaphragm, your guts, your hips. And then melt and fold. Now you might be ready for Shavasana, where you can just stretch your legs straight here and relax. Or perhaps you need a little something like a twist or a happy baby pose or a supported bridge or a supta Baddha Konasana or whatever it is that you would like to do. So take your time. Remember, this practice is for you. It's not for anyone but you. So Shavasana is really important. This is our posture of deep rest. It's a gift. So as you find your way here, no rush if you're doing some other poses. First, just make sure your back and everything is comfortable. If you need some support, you can build a little stack underneath your knees so that your low back is more at ease. If you're uncomfortable with your head or your arms, just make any adjustments that are necessary. Sometimes you can even put your legs up on a couch or on a chair or up a wall. So just find what's going to feel good for you. And once you are settling, melt your bones. Can you give yourself the gift of presence here? Can you just feel deep gratitude and a sense of presence and aliveness with every breath? The glory of the breath. It's amazing that you can take in the breath and let it leave you. So feel the miracle of that. On your exhales, let your body surrender. Let your skull surrender, your mind inside your head surrender. Keeping your breathing. Keep your body resting. And again, let's imagine these layers of our being. Anamaya kosha, the physical body. Anamaya kosha, the mental body. The pranamaya kosha, your prana or energy body, your motion and breath body. Vijnamaya kosha, deep, deep consciousness, knowing, deep knowing, wisdom body. Sanandamaya kosha, this never to be harmed, always pure bliss body. Gather up all these sheaths, all these koshas, layers of your being, and bring movement in. Whatever feels good. Now of your practice, any way you'd like. To your side as you're ready. Way to a comfortable seat. Let's offer the gifts of our practice. Open yourself up to the world. Let your energy release to the world. Share yourself. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.